Alright, so we're back on Ardashir, the Conquerors games, aka RecoN, and we've got him playing off against Kasva in a Rus versus HRE. So he's instantly going to go for that second scout. I think he'll probably get the third out of the hunting cabin, which is pretty normal for the Rus. Or Kasva. He's gone for the early prelate. He's going to go for a second scout as well, because being able to control the map, kill as many deer, pick up as many sheep, kill as many wolves as possible is very important against a Rus opponent who's going to get access to basically free eco techs for doing that, as well as also get the gold bounty. In fact, the gold bounty is actually what contributes to that, so basically you get free 5, 10 and then 15%. So 10% is pretty normal, the tier 2. And basically a 20% improvement in your hunting cabin tick rate, which is also pretty big. Well, I mean, that one's not so big with the way people play. It could be very big, but people really generally only get the one macro cabin just to make that third scout. And because they know that they're going to get a payoff out of this one, any more than that, really a bit of a risk. The only other cabins you're really going to see are ones on actual food sources, but players might opt to put it as close to the wood lines as possible, like put a cabin here and then put a second cabin here later for more efficient gathering if they've got a bit of a wood surplus, or if they've, won early on in a fight. Because if you've got a lot of villages actually on a particular resource, it's pretty efficient to have multiple buildings around it, I find. Especially on a civ like French, because buildings are so cheap, and then on a civ like Rus, because if you go for one over here, then in theory if these here were further over here, you could actually have 2 cabins generating gold while villagers are on them getting food as quickly as possible. But anyway, back to Kasva v... well, I was going to say Ardashir, but that's me. It's actually RecoN. So I think he's probably the second most successful tournament player in the UK in the game at the moment, and I'd probably go as far to say he's probably the most talented player of any game in the series from the UK. Considering, to my knowledge, he's the only person with winnings in 4 different Age of Empires games. So he's got it in 2 Mythology Online and 4. And then he's also been a high level ladder player in 3. Kasva I don't know that much about. I do know he's a high level Turkish player. And I believe he's playing for, is it Istanbul Wildcats, whatever they're called? Anyway, Arch and Chapel going up here. We've got 5 villages on it, and they didn't even drop off as well, but that's probably not... oh no, they did. I thought they didn't. Okay. So Golden Gate going down with 6 villages. I wonder who's going to grab this wolf here. Because Kasva's actually got 2 vills. I mean 2 scouts over here. To RecoN's 1. Ooh. So Kasva is successful in getting both of those wolves. RecoN with his tail between his legs. Alright, he's going to come back and keep the scout there, keep an eye on his opponent while he runs his other 2 scouts over, because he's just picked up a huge load of sheep there. But he's not going to be able to take this fight. Kasva's going to be able to run him down. But scouts don't have a charge like the other cavalry, so they're not going to be able to basically lock on to one another and rely on having the smallest unit advantage to make it very hard to flee. So both these guys are just going to scout each other out, maybe do a little bit of villager harass. RecoN splitting his 3 scouts up. Kasva. Oh, finding another wolf in the meantime, so he's going to deny 25 gold to the Rus player. It is pretty important. Because on top of that, you never actually know how close they are to the next bounty tier. And particularly wolves, you want to try and make sure you don't let them slide, just in case it does tick your opponent over the 250 mark. Or in team games to the 500 mark. It's not so easy to get 500 in 1v1, but in team games it's actually pretty easy because just about everyone's going to have a hunt of some sort. So, you know, you get both your opponent's hunts because you're the only Rust player on your team, and you get 500 pretty quickly. Your opponents forget to clear them, you get 1,000. No joke. So we got a quick second town center here, and we've got an archon. Second prelate here to help empower the workers over this side as well. A single villager still on stone gathering. I wonder if that's just going to be so that he can get emplacements on any of his towers. So RecoN's just walling off this side passage. Just make it hard for his opponent to get around here and actually gather. He might actually wall off this segment as well. Try and contest this relic. Because if the HRE player wants to go Age 3 and they go for the Regnitz Cathedral and they manage to get 2 relics in it, then they basically have 4 relics. And then on top of that, RecoN's even going to wall in this one over here. So this is quite nice for RecoN in terms of the spawns, really, because 1, 2, 3, 4 are really quite in close proximity to him. Well, there's, I suppose, 1, 2, 3 to Kasva, but even still, I think the relics will be slightly in RecoN's favour here, and he is going to wall them in just to deny the opportunity. And it's funny, he's got a gate down here at the spot he's least likely to head through, but he hasn't gated up here yet. But in saying that, doing things this way, he actually at least gets this wall down before anything gets over here. But right now, Kasva gonna go for that tower on the gold. RecoN does have this other gold mine up here that's safe, and I think he knows. So his second town center gonna be able to boom straight onto that. So yeah, like I said, hunting cabin fairly close to the most optimal spot to actually gather gold off the trees, rather than really being the most optimal spot to actually get deer value, which would probably be over here. But this is going to hurt RecoN. He's going to drop villagers pretty quickly off this. So he's going to pull back, losing only the 2 there. In the meanwhile, he's going to take a bit of a scout fight against Kasva. With Kasva is going to deny this cabin and all this gold, all this food gathering. He's just going to gather gold in the meantime and basically pay itself back. But in the meanwhile, this is going to be annoying for RecoN because now he's got to either settle for berries or for a dangerous hunt out somewhere on the map. But right now he's managed to wall in all the relics. I think if he puts the gate there, he can always funnel units around the map as well, which could be quite good for him. What's this little symbols on the outside? I don't even know. I have to look at that. Ooh, but arrow slits. RecoN's going to back off from there. Another outpost. So, ooh, this is weird. Range all the way over here. I suppose there's not really a good spot to put it over here and have it behind the towers once this one's gone up. So this will be interesting. The spearman is going to have to be focused down by villagers in order for this to actually work for RecoN. So, ooh, Kasva, very nice. He's aggroed the boar as well, so RecoN's going to have to put a lot of effort into microing this, but RecoN's now dragged Kasva forward, and now, ooh, the boar's going to pick off a pair of Kasva's units. So RecoN really turning that situation around there with the villager micro. And he is going to finish the fortress, garrison all the villagers inside it, and now things are really looking RecoN's way. But in saying that, these towers This forward building is really... Kasva's really putting RecoN under pressure behind this as well. But the ball... it does pick off that scout, but in saying that, it doesn't... This means that RecoN didn't really have to worry about micro any vills, at least. Like, personally, I think that's probably the way to do things, because if you get distracted the slightest bit, you're pretty fucked. These guys are just gathering, actually. It's strange. I suppose it locks them up just long enough that Kasva can do something else on the map. That means if he ever saves them, he actually gets resources back, so... I guess there's that. It's just a tower fest here at the moment. Things are looking very weird here. We've got towers all over the map. So Kasva's got a tower line up here and he's going to get a tower over here. And RecoN's got this range in the middle of nowhere. There's a Rax on RecoN's doorstep. This has been one of the weirdest games I've casted yet. And RecoN's done it under my name. Tower creep incoming. But bearing in mind, fortresses have double the health and close to double the capacity of towers. So in these sorts of situations, I do feel like the only civ that really goes toe to toe with Rus is something like English. Just because they get that attack speed buff fighting around towers. So Kasva not really able to take an engage here, and he's even dropping a horseman. He is getting a couple of man-at-arms, and I mean man-at-arms are great for a situation like this because they're one of the few units available this early that can really tank a lot of light damage. These vills, RecoN might lose. He's going to micro these ones back. He does lose them both, but these others might get this tower low enough that it is going to start burning. So, Kasva, he's going to get a couple of kills for his trouble, but at the same time, the tower trade is going to go RecoN's way here. But while this is going on, there has been a bit of a raid here on this gold mine, but RecoN's already had it towered up, so he's going to be able to get a couple of these villages. But meanwhile, Kasva is going to tower up RecoN over here. Kasva's actually reinforced this tower, so it's going to be pretty much as strong as RecoN's fortress now. So he's actually going to shift over here just to control this gold mine. So it's become about who can basically get on the most resource nodes here with the towers. Because RecoN's pretty much locked down all the gold mines, and he has managed to take an age 3 behind this, so he is slightly ahead of Kasva in that sense. So he's even gonna... he's even shift rallied the warrior monk back to the Abbey of the Trinity. But right now he's selected it because he wants to try and... he's going to get the low villager too. Great awareness there to pick off the low villager with that warrior monk. But meanwhile, Kasva is coming over here to try and tower this up. And lovely garrison there from RecoN again. He's going to be able to defend that resource node. The warrior monk heading up to grab the relic, and another one heading down to grab this one, if he can sneak it past, and then all he has to do is delete one of these segments of the wall. But getting this one up here might be a bit tough, because I suppose he has to come around this way, delete a segment over here, without Kasva noticing. And Kasva, very switched on. Doing a great job at counter-walling here. But I do think he's going to start to slip behind with the relic income RecoN's going to start getting. So things are going to get tough for him, and he's going to have to try and Well, I think he might have tried to creep forward there to pick off the warrior monk and then maybe try and burn down the cabin. But he's he's fortifying a lot of these outposts, and it's not a cheap upgrade to have, so if you can get away with not having to do it, it's great. But over here, he might be able to deny a warrior monk getting this relic, because he actually already picked it off. So if you can tear down the wall and put his own segment in it, he can make it tough for RecoN to rely on getting this relic. On top of that, Kasva having taken his own age 3 to get regnets, but the problem is he's now got to send one of his prelates. And how many does he have? He's only got the 2, and this one can't get around to get this relic, and he hasn't realised just yet that RecoN's already walled it off. So there's already been an upgrade there to the spring order emplacement. RecoN's already trading a couple of horse archers, and he's got a treb as well, so the treb's going to let him clean up structures around the map. Kasva's army, well, he's got these units over here trying to burn this down, and he is getting a couple of horsemen out still at the moment. And this is such a strange game. I do not even know what to focus on here. But RecoN's up in the ante. He's already grabbed some relics, so he's going to start trying to contest the sacreds. Kasva, in the meanwhile, is trying to wall up and try and take back some of his map control, take back some of the dignity in the game. He's managed to tear down this segment, Kasva, and he's pinched one of the relics back, so this is refreshing, and he might be able to get this one over here as well. But, I mean, the big thing is that RecoN's already delayed this so much while already having his relics, that he's sort of nullified having a regnets, because this relic will go in and it'll push him up to basically 2 relics effectively, but RecoN's already on 2 and has a sacred site which trickles just as much. So over here, Kasva's trying to take this down to get back ahead on that gold income lead, but he's really teched around it. Well, the Russes, the big thing is that you just feel the warrior monks cheaper anyway. And so, the Treb sniped a couple of towers already. It's going to take a bit longer to take these ones down compared to these ones, because they are fortified. But they are still going to fall eventually. Well, over here, RecoN's managed to catch Kasva in the act. I do like this. These cabins are going to generate a bit of gold, and on top of that, RecoN's even decided just to farm out here. Use his opponent's walls against him. Well, these towers are still trading against one another, but nothing's really coming of it. So these, I don't think these actually take less damage from the trebs when they're fortified. They've just got more health. Cass has actually managed to wall up this, so RecoN can't get back for free. He's actually got to try and, well, actually, he's got to try and tear this wall down. So this is really smart from Kasva, because RecoN's not been able to actually pinch that other relic from over here with as much ease as he'd hoped. But RecoN has at least got the relic. Ooh, but this warrior monk is going to head back, and this isn't going to be great for RecoN. Kasva, this is a lovely catch for him. So some smart play, having walled up there just to counter and deny RecoN. So he is going to be able to take back the sacred side, or is he going to... Oh, well, he's going to neutralize the sacred at least. And he's going to pinch the relic back. RecoN's torn down a segment of the wall there, so he's going to be able to do what he likes. And this is a massive army for RecoN here. Horse archers, heaps of them in the mix. Kasva starting to wall off with some stone walls now. Ooh, RecoN needs to really repair this tower, but I think he's just going to let this go. Kasva has a treb there. That would be why that fell so fast. But in the meanwhile, he's got to deal with this massive army of horse archers from RecoN. Extremely split up here as well. I think he was trying to rely on catching aggro of the treb with one of them, maybe? He may be able to actually get the treb with the melee. He will. So now Kasva is a little bit light on units and has to try and field as many knights as he can to try and clean this up at the moment. He's got 6 in the queue, but RecoN's inside his walls. Kasva, everything garrisoned at the moment. A lot of Vil kills here, so this will make quick work of Kasva's economy if he's not careful, and he's got a lot of Vil's garrison while this fight's going down. He does have a mangonel, but he's going to be sparing about how he uses it. Meanwhile, RecoN's managed to mass up a little bit more behind this. He's got a couple of springles, a bit more melee in this army. He's crept forward with the treb. Yeah, he has. So he's slowly clearing out all the towers while this is going on. Not a great fight for him over here. Kasva's got a whole heap of heavy melee right now with knights, and he's even got spears and horsemen. So just units that really mess with a ranged cavalry tag unit. Getting some nice hits from his mangonels, and they don't do any damage to his own walls. So he's defended RecoN's push here, but he did have an awful lot of garrison time there. He's lucky to not lose that monk, or that prelate. So he's going to have effectively 4 relics. RecoN's effectively only got 2, but RecoN, right now I think the score's a bit telling. He's quite far ahead in terms of army size, and I think he's got a little bit more in the bank at the moment. So he's going to be able to actually do a couple of aggressive keeps. He's got one here on his opponent's doorstep. He's starting to bring some springles as well, and Kasva, not a lot of melee left for him now. So RecoN's really broken into Kasva's base. Oh, and that's a market trade going on there for Kasva. So not what you want to be doing when you're already behind on eco, because you're going to put yourself even further behind, but at the same time, you just need to get those units fielded sometimes. Right now, RecoN's managed to cap a sacred. He might even look at going for the others, just to neutralize the benefit of the Regnitz Cathedral, because as you can see, it's effectively gathering. Oh, it's a rate of triple. I thought it was a rate of double, my bad. So it's effectively like having 6 relics in there. Massive. But in saying that, the eco's just been overwhelmed anyway by RecoN's pushing here. He's even brought some spears into the mix alongside the horse archers. So he's going to have a nice bit of tanking here for his high damage range backline, and he's even taking out landmarks of Kasva's at the moment. If he takes out that Arch and Chapel, that's a lot of gathering reduction there, because these workers are all getting a nice 40% increase, assuming they weren't in the town centre. Ooh, and it's a bit of a dirty keep right on the doorstep of his opponent. GG. RecoN is victorious.